Chapter 93, Summer 1976, Part 1, London. Wednesday, August 11th, 1976. St. Edmund's was less bearable than usual that summer. Remus was angry almost all of the time. It was too hot, and he missed Hogwarts, and he missed his friends, and most of all he missed Sirius, but he also hated him. It was a huge mess. He missed Grant too. Grant, who might have made it all a bit more manageable, or at least offered some escapism. But as an unsatisfying conversation with another St. Eddie's boy called Mike had told him, Grant had left St. Edmund's shortly after Christmas. He was living in a flat in Mile End, apparently, though Remus didn't have much more information than that. And he had said Remus could come any time. At least I'm not knocking over off licenses or getting pissed on the common this time, he thought, as he planned his escape. As summer rebellions went, this one was perhaps the most healthy. He waited until the second full moon of the summer had passed, on the 10th of August. On the 11th, he waited for Madame Pomfrey to come and give him the all clear, and then he just left. He was sore and extremely tired, but at the time, he didn't feel he had any other option. He packed a small bag without taking books or homework or his wand or anything at all that reminded him of Hogwarts. He would be a muggle for a few days. Why not? All Remus had to do was walk out into the garden and crawl through the fence at the back, just as he had been doing for years to get into town. From there, he simply walked to the nearest tube. Thaden Boy's underground station was about 5 miles away, but he did it easily in under 2 hours, even with a gammy hip. He couldn't afford a ticket, but it wasn't difficult to push through the barriers behind a group of suited businessmen on their way to work. He got a seat on the train and pretended to be asleep so that the ticket inspector wouldn't bother him, listening to the rattling, rumbling roar of the train as the carriage whooshed along the tracks, like a great earthworm ploughing its way into central London. Excitement pulsed in Remus's chest as he reached Mile End, where he hurried out of the carriage into the dimly lit green and white tiled station. Mile End had been hit by a German bomb during the war and still hadn't recovered from the shock of it. It was a dirty, sprawling mess of a high street littered with rubble and newspapers, children playing in the road, noise everywhere. The grim anonymity suited Remus. Who would come looking for him here? Who would find him? He wandered for a bit, unsure what to do next. The information he'd been given was just a building name, no street address. But after asking in a newsagent, and quite literally following his nose, he found it. It turned out that Grant didn't actually have a flat, not in the sense that he owned it, or was even renting it. As far as Remus could tell, it was a squat shared with several other young men and women. He hadn't actually been expecting Remus either.
"Bloody hell!"
he exclaimed, when one of the girls finally brought him to the door.
"What are you doing here?"
Remus felt very foolish. He wasn't sure what sort of welcome he would have liked, but it wasn't that.
You did say I could visit.
"Yeah, sorry."
Grant grabbed his shoulder and pulled him inside.
"Sorry, I'm just a bit hungover. Give me a minute."
He led Remus into what appeared to be a kitchen. It smelled vaguely of curry and damp. There were bubbles in the wallpaper and holes in the yellow linoleum floor. Grant flicked on an electric kettle.
"One of the girls sorted us out with a generator,"
he explained.
"She's a mechanic or summink. Tea?"
Remus nodded. Tea usually helped. Grant looked different. Only a year older than the last time Remus had seen him, he was thinner about the face. He'd lost some of the brightness in his eyes, and his blonde hair was even longer, still curly, but badly in need of washing. He seemed to have chipped a tooth at some point as well, and a bruise the colour of old honey marred his left cheek. Even so, he still had the same friendly grin. He handed Remus a steaming mug and smiled at him.
"You look, well, like shit,"
he said, sipping from his own mug.
"Been sleeping rough?"
Oh no,
Remus shook his head.
I just got off the tube from St. Edmund's.
"Oh yeah, how's matron? Kick you out, did she? Kick me out, the old trollop."
Nothing like that,
Remus said.
I just thought I'd visit. See how you were.
"Mike tell you where I was?"
Yeah. So who is Mike?
Remus smiled at him shyly from behind his mug of tea.
"Oh, you know."
Grant smirked.
"Just some company for me. Couldn't pine over you all year, could I, posh boy?"
He's really thick.
"Is he?"
Grant looked mildly amused.
"I never noticed. Didn't really talk much."
Remus snorted at this and it felt good. Grant made him feel so normal. He could never comfortably joke about that sort of thing with the marauders, even when they were all on speaking terms. The squat was cleaner than it first appeared, but still in a pretty bad state. There were 6 of them living there, between 2 bedrooms and a living room, which was visible through a beaded doorway across the hall. Apparently one of the boys even slept in the bathroom because none of the plumbing was connected anyway. The only working tap was in the kitchen.
"There's a loo in the courtyard,"
Grant explained.
"Sometimes we can get in to use the showers at the boxing club next door.
Oi oi.
Another young man had woken up from his spot on the sofa.
Make us a cuppa, Grant darling. Who's this?
He was shirtless, dark-skinned and gorgeous. He had the same faraway look Grant had now.
Mate of mine from the children's home,
Grant said.
Remus Lupin.
That's never your name.
The stranger gawped at him.
Straight up.
Grant replied on Remus's behalf.
Goes to a posh school and everything, innit? Remus, this is Ads.
Blimey,
Ads stared at Remus, then back at Grant.
he one of us.
Grant handed Ads a third mug of tea and surveyed Remus, looking him up and down appraisingly. He nodded, very slightly. Remus wasn't sure what that meant, but he had some idea. He stifled a yawn. Grant clucked sympathetically.
You look dead on your feet,
He said.
Had one of your nights, have you? Go and lie down if you want. I'll kick 'em all out of the bedroom. No one'll bother you.
Remus nodded gratefully and was led into a dark and dingy room.
Oi, you lazy gits. Up you get. Got a mate here who needs a kip.
Remus murmured an embarrassed apology to the four young men who clambered to their feet and milled out of the room. The beds seemed to be used on a rotating basis, and no one looked annoyed by this intrusion. One of the boys even winked at Remus. 3 sad, single mattresses lay on the floor, strewn with old blankets and pillows. It smelt vaguely of mould and strongly of unwashed bodies. Cardboard had been used to stop up the broken windows. Remus was glad it was the summer. It might have been freezing cold otherwise. Despite it all, he slept easily, feeling that he had finally taken some control over his situation. Grant woke him some hours later. He looked a little bit better, as if he'd had a good meal at least. Remus's stomach rumbled.
Wakey, wakey.
Grant chirped, holding another mug of tea. Remus sat up, rubbing his eyes. Some of the soreness left over from the full moon was still there, but he felt better. It must have been midday, judging by the blazing rays of light coming through the gaps in the cardboard.
Thanks.
He rasped, sipping the tea, moving along so that Grant could sit beside him. They sat in companionable silence for a little while, backs against the wall and legs splayed out in front of them.
So,
Grant said finally, once he had judged Remus sufficiently awake and half the tea was drunk.
want to tell me why you're here?
Remus shrugged.
Just visiting. Sick of that place.
Yeah, well, I know that feeling.
Grant sighed.
Ain't you going back to school in a few weeks, though?
Yeah. Maybe.
He knew he had to. There was nowhere else to go.
Sick of that place too, eh?
Grant nudged him, gently teasing.
Go on, tell us what happened. Get your heart broken.
Remus looked at him startled. Grant chuckled.
Yeah, thought so. Who is he then?
It's not.
Remus stuttered.
It's not that. It's complicated. My friend just let me down.
Yeah, they always do.
Grant nodded sagely.
Bet they're the worst for it, public school boys, eh? Especially with us peasants.
It wasn't like that at all.
Yeah.
He waved a dismissive hand.
Tell yourself you're different if you like. Stay away from toffs. If you want my advice, we're just a bit of fun to them. Keep to your own kind.
This isn't about class.
Remus said angrily. Grant glanced down at him sympathetically, as if he was much older and wiser.
Have a look around, Remus,
He said, gesturing to the dank room they were in.
We're British. It's always about class.
Remus looked down at his chipped mug of greyish tea. Grant was probably right. What else was this stupid war all about? He felt he ought to say something else, something witty or clever. He stared at the tea and just felt sad. He might lose it if he spoke. Grant set his own mug down on the wooden floor and touched Remus's hand.
You're going to be okay. It stops hurting after a while.
No, it was no good. Remus had lost it. He sniffed a few times, trying harder than ever not to cry, but the tears came, and he was too tired. Grant put an arm around him, and Remus leaned on his shoulder, sobbing softly, hiccuping every now and then, like a little child. Grant kissed his head softly and whispered into his hair,
Ain't no shame in it.
which only made him cry harder. It was a good thing, maybe. Once he'd finally calmed down, he felt like he'd had a good long sleep. He wiped his nose on his sleeve and straightened up, looking for something else to talk about.
Is everyone here? You know?
He asked shyly.
Queer? Yeah, most of us. Nowhere else to go. Coppers leave us alone if we leave them alone.
Police? But it isn't a crime.
Is for someone your age.
Grant raised an eyebrow.
Age of consent is 21 for us deviants.
Oh, right, yeah. But I wasn't going to.
Grant laughed and ruffled Remus's hair.
You staying the night? Lot of us are off to this pub up in Soho. It's safe enough.
Can I stay then? Just for a bit?
Don't see why not. Come on, you. Let's get you fed.
He hauled himself to his feet, looking thinner than ever in his spindly drainpipe jeans. He offered Remus a hand and pulled him up too. Lunch was baked beans on toast. The bread was a bit mouldy, but they scraped off the greenest bits. Afterwards, they sat about in the living room with some of Grant's housemates and smoked pot with Bob Dylan playing in the background. Everything felt distinctly mugglish, and Remus was glad of it. It was so simple. No one knew him except Grant, who hardly knew him well. It could be very easy to disappear, if you wanted to, Remus thought to himself. After a few deep drags on the spliff, Remus found himself lying on the slightly damp beige carpet, staring up at the tobacco-stained ceiling. Grant gently placed a cushion under his head. He was being so kind, like an older brother, even though they were practically the same age and only a year ago had been all over each other. If Remus was being fully honest with himself, he had come prepared for more of the same, but was eternally grateful that Grant never so much as hinted in that direction.
Fucking dog keeps barking.
Someone said in the background, bringing Remus slowly out of his dreamy state.
What is it, a stray?
Someone else asked.
Dunno. Bloody massive, though. Horrible black thing.
Did you say there's a black dog outside?
Remus sat up, slowly, a sinking feeling in his belly. It couldn't be, surely.
Yeah.
Ads replied, standing at the window. Remus stood up and went over to join him. Sure enough, there it was. He stepped back quickly behind the curtain so Sirius wouldn't see him. How far could dogs see?
I need the loo. Just a minute.
Remus muttered, exiting the flat quickly. He hurried down the stairs and took the door out to the courtyard, where he stood at the threshold, watching the huge black dog still barking up at the window.
Hello, Sirius.
He said quietly. The dog turned and was quiet at once.
James with you?
Hiya, Mooney.
James stepped out from behind some bins.
Lovely place you've got here.
Look, I'm not in the mood.
Remus folded his arms. He felt a bit light-headed from the dope.
What do you want?
Sirius had not transformed back, but sat there, watching him. Good. That made it easier for Remus to ignore him. He addressed James instead.
What do you mean, what do we want?
James raised an eyebrow.
We were worried about you. Your matron called the Muggle police and said you'd escaped. Somehow Dumbledore found out and got in touch with my parents. I think they thought you'd come to ours. Sirius was sure you'd gone into London. He followed your scent practically all the way from the children's home.
You were at St. Edmund's?
Yeah.
Remus cringed at that, embarrassed. He had never wanted his friends to know what it was like where he lived. He sighed and held out his arms, as if presenting himself for inspection.
Well, you've found me,
he said.
As you can see, I'm perfectly fine. Now go away and tell your dog to stop barking.
He couldn't help slipping in a nasty barb at Sirius. His desire to hurt him had not gone away, apparently. Padfoot whined slightly and ducked his head. James ignored it, focusing on Remus.
You're not perfectly fine. Never mind the fact that you appear to be hanging out in a Muggle squat, or the fact that the Muggle police are looking for you. We have to bring you back right now. Dumbledore can only avoid telling the Ministry you've gone walkabout for 24 hours, he said. Then they'll set the Aurors on you.
What? Why?
But it suddenly dawned on Remus exactly why. He was not just a runaway teen, like Grant and his friends. He was a dangerous creature on the loose. He suddenly felt very, very tired.
Fuck's sake,
he muttered, looking down.
Come home with us, Remus.
James extended a hand.
Dad said you can stay for the rest of the summer.
I haven't forgiven him,
Remus said, fiercely, looking at James because he could not look at Sirius. James looked as tired as Remus felt.
I know, mate. It's okay. He gets it.
That made him angrier still. He didn't want Sirius to get it. He wanted... Well, he didn't know what he wanted. Begging on his hands and knees. Padfoot was doing a good job of that as it was. He sighed.
Look, I've got a friend here. Let me go and tell him I'm leaving.
Upstairs, he called for Grant from the hall. He didn't like to say a big goodbye in front of everyone.
You all right, Remus, mate?
Grant said from the top of the stairs, peering down at James and the dog Sirius, waiting in the hall.
Yeah, fine. Look, I'm going to go. I have to go.
He a friend?
Grant eyed James suspiciously.
You going to be safe?
Yeah, he's a friend from school. It's fine. I can ring you, maybe?
He had no idea how he would contact a Muggle squat from a wizarding household.
You can come back any time.
Thanks. Seriously, Grant. Thanks for everything. You're amazing.
Don't make me blush.
Grant wrapped his arms around his skinny body, looking down at his feet.
Snuffing you wouldn't do for me.
Right.
Remus nodded. Grant looked down the stairs again.
That dog belonged to him or something. Should be on a lead.
Yeah, probably.
Remus nodded, hoping Sirius could hear.
Not dangerous, is it? Bloody hate dogs, me.
He's pretty tame, don't worry. I'll be in touch, okay?
Remus bit his lip, glancing back through the open door into the crowded squat.
Will you be okay? Here?
Grant shrugged and grinned.
Don't worry about me, sweetheart. I always land on my feet.
Remus stepped forward, putting a hand on Grant's shoulder to push him gently backwards into the shadow of the stairwell so that they could not be seen by James and Sirius or through the doorway. He hugged him, tightly. Grant hugged him back, so beautifully. They pulled away and shared a brief, friendly kiss before both grinning shyly and stepping apart.
What is it about you, eh?
Grant ruffled Remus's hair.
Don't stay away too long.
See you.
Remus nodded.